Let's be honest. Every man wants to be ripped, shredded, vascular. But after 30 years old, it just gets a lot harder, or it just feels a lot harder, because the strategies and the procedures that you have to go through, the process is normally the same at any age. It's just the fact that, let's be honest, we get older, our metabolism slows down, the stress builds up, life happens as normal. But most guys think that getting shredded really just means you need to starve yourself. Eat no food, or eat just minimal amounts of food, 400 calories, 600 calories. Or if it's not starvation, then they figure, hey, in order to get ripped, shredded, vascular, I must need to do steroids. But that's not the case. All right. The truth is you can absolutely get shredded naturally at any age. You just have to have the right formula. I talk about this all the time. I tell my clients this all the time. The formula is what matters most. All right. And so in this video today, I'm going to give you that formula. I'm going to show you what you actually need to do in order to have that ripped, vascular, and shredded physique. All right. So let's just dive right in. You guys know, no cuts, no edits. But the reason why getting shredded after the age of 30 is a lot harder is simply because your metabolism slows down. All right. So you start burning fewer calories at rest. And then your hormonal shifts. So we always talk about the cortisol rise due to stress. The testosterone starts to lower, and the lifestyle factors of like our responsibilities. We have less time to train. We have less time to meal prep. We have to run errands. We have to take care of our families. We have family things, family activities, right? So those are some things. And the last thing that is normally in the way is just the poor eating habits. Years of terrible eating. Let's be honest with ourselves. We have years built up to the age of 30 of eating horribly and accumulating fat over time. That fat becomes stubborn, and that's why we just can't get it off. But anyway, so the benefits of a shredded physique, because there are a ton of benefits, and it's not just looking good, although that is a benefit. All right. Looking good and feeling good. The confidence level is up. And for any single guys out there, women tend to gravitate towards the guys with nice physiques, the guys who are fit, the guys who seem to take care of themselves. They have a level of discipline, right? So if you're single out there, I'm talking to my single guys. And then if you're married, or if you have a girlfriend, or whatever you decide that you want to have, you know what I mean? Folks tend to gravitate and love on the folks who take care of themselves. You have to continue to take care of yourselves. I'm rambling. Let me not ramble. But the benefits of having a shredded physique is health. All right. So you have health benefits. You have a lower risk of diabetes, lower risk of the heart disease, lower chances of having those joint issues, your tendons, your bones all jacked up. That's one of the benefits. Another benefit is your performance. So having a leaner body normally correlates with having a stronger and relatively strong, fast, and great conditioning, endurance, stamina. That all comes with having that shredded physique. Right. And then we talked about the confidence. When your veins are popping out, your abs are showing that confidence is up. And then we talk about longevity. All right. So the less fat that is on your body, you tend to have the reduced inflammation and better hormone balance. Right. So over time and throughout your years, if you are leaner, you tend to last longer on this earth. Let me say it like that. But the common mistakes that men seem to face when they are trying to get shredded is, let's just break it down. I got 5 of them for you. Crash dieting, right? That's an issue. We think that we need to crash diet, but the fact is, when you do crash diet, you start to kill your metabolism, all right? And so killing your metabolism leads to muscle loss. Another thing is the endless cardio. So you think that you have to do loads and loads and loads of cardio. You do have to do cardio, but not as much as you think, right? That cardio burns you out, and it doesn't build that shredded look that you think it should build, right? There's a thing called skinny fat, and we won't dive into that today, but skinny fat is a real thing, right? You go from your chubby, your fat physique, you do a bunch of cardio, and now you're just skinny fat, right? No muscle. That's an issue. And then the third issue is ignoring the strength training. So The muscle is what creates that definition, right? So you need to be in the gym, building muscle, getting stronger, developing those muscles, defining those muscles in order for you to have that shredded, that vascular, that ripped physique, right? You must strength train, resistance train. That is going to be key. The fourth thing that is a mistake is not tracking the food, right? A lot of you are out there thinking that you're healthy eating, but really it's just leading to fat gain and calories because your calories are too high. So you can eat too much healthy food. It is a true thing, right? Studies out there, the statistics are out there. You can overeat healthy food. So that is a major issue. And then the last thing is just inconsistency. Chasing those quick fixes instead of building the habits, right? We talk about it all the time that habits are what keep you going. You got to build those habits, and you got to make sure that you're locking in for a lifestyle change, right? So it's the inconsistency that is jacking a lot of us males up, all right? So moving on, how do we get shredded naturally? After 30 specifically, right? This will apply to my 20-year-olds, and then for the 20-year-olds who are watching, set yourself up for the future. So if you know this is going to happen after 30, set yourself up now to where after 30, this is not a problem for you. All right. So how to get shredded. All right. So I got 5 things for you on how to get shredded naturally. Okay. First thing first. You have to dial in that nutrition. All right. You got to create that small caloric deficit. I'm thinking 10 to 20% below your maintenance. All right. A small deficit. You want to make sure your protein is high. I love the 1 gram per pound of body weight. I love that one. I know you can do your research and you can see that it can also be 1 gram per kilogram, but I like to do 1 gram per pound of body weight. That's what I like to do. You can go 0.8 to 1 gram and you should be good. That is high protein. You want to prioritize whole foods, which is your lean meats, your veggies, complex carbs, healthy fats. You got to prioritize those. And then you want to limit those processed sugars and liquid calories. So processed food, you got to get rid of it, or you have to limit it and have it in a controlled, have it as a controlled variable. All right. So you're not eating processed food over and over all throughout the day. Maybe processed food twice, 3 times a week. Right. There's some Instagram and TikToks out there talking about how all food is processed, but what we're mainly talking about is the food that's in the freezer, right? The food that is in the cabinet package that lasts forever, processed. All right. So you want to limit that. Now, the second thing on how you can get shredded naturally, you want to lift weights to keep muscle. All right. So I like to build muscle and lose body fat at the same exact time, but it's not ideal for a lot of people because it's a slower process. But you want to make sure that when you are trying to get shredded, you are on that caloric deficit diet, you need to make sure that you are keeping muscle. So you have to lift weights to keep muscle. You need to be training 3 to 4 days a week of resistance training, picking up weight, putting weight down, picking up the barbell. You got to be in there, and you got to focus on compound lifts, keep them at the top priority of your workout. You have to do your squat, your bench, your deadlift. You have to do some pull-ups. You have to do some overhead press. You got to get in it. And that's compound movements. That's what's going to help you with that testosterone, that muscle mass. And then you got to add that isolation work after your workout, right? Or not after the workout, but towards the end of your workout. You got to add that isolation work where you focus on sharpening the definition, right? Your lateral raises, right? Your bicep curls, your chest flies. You got to focus on the isolation work as well. Now, third thing we want to talk about on how you can actually get shredded naturally is the cardio. Now, I talked about how you don't have to do so much cardio. Well, what I really mean is that you don't have to do as much cardio as you think you need to do, right? Cardio should still be a strategic implementation into your daily lifestyle, right? So a lot of folks believe in HIIT, high intensity interval training. I do it every now and again, at least 1 to 2 per week when you are trying to get shredded, at least 1 to 2 per week when you are trying to get shredded. And then for the remainder of the week, you need to be doing LISS, which is low intensity, steady state cardio. So like you're walking, even jogging just a slight bit, but really walking on an incline is what I love. You got the Stairmaster, you got ellipticals. You want to be making sure that you are burning fat without that muscle loss, right? And so that's the idea of doing your steady state cardio throughout the week and then throwing in that HIIT at least once or twice. Fourth thing we want to talk about, I keep throwing up the wrong numbers. Fourth thing we want to talk about is the lifestyle and the recovery. So this is going to be key. And I know a lot of you out there are lagging on this one, and that's simply because life happens. But sleep is very important. 7 to 9 hours. We got to be getting our sleep. Poor sleep equals high cortisol, which equals fat storage. All right. So poor sleep is what is going to stress your body, right? So I know you walk around, you think you're stressed at work, this, that, and the third, but really, stressing your body is one of the issues that we're having, right? So gotta recover, you gotta sleep, you gotta keep your cortisol low so you can minimize that fat storage, because you gotta manage that stress. So you got things like meditation, be careful with it, but meditation, you got your walks that can be therapeutic for a lot of folks. You have lifting weights, which is therapeutic for me. I love to lift weights. Helps to tap me into another dimension, if you will. And then you got your hobbies, right? Your hobbies are going to help you just stay grounded, keep your mind off of the daily stressors. So you need to find you something you can read. I mean, I can give you a bunch of hobbies, but you got to find your own thing, right? You got to find your own thing. And then last thing you want to do when you focus on that recovery and just have this in your lifestyle is your hydration, right? So your veins pop when you are lean and hydrated. You have to be hydrated. A lot of you are dehydrated and you're drowsy. You tend to be lazy and you're just tired, low energy. You are probably dehydrated. Make sure you are drinking enough water. You don't have to walk around with the gallon jug like bodybuilders, but make sure that you are drinking your water, stay hydrated. And then the fifth thing on how you can actually get lean, how you can actually get that vascular ripped physique, you need to stay consistent. You have to stay consistent. Getting shredded naturally takes time. It takes time. If you see me on this YouTube, if you see me on social media, I've been doing this for 20 years. It takes time. But once you get there, you're there. And you just need to hold that. You're there, right? Consistency, that's key. So I want you to think 8 to 16 weeks of dialed in habits, not 2 weeks of crash diets. All right. You're not getting ready for a vacation. We're getting ready for life. 8 to 16 weeks, lock in, dialing in. So those are the 5 ways on how to actually get lean, get vascular, get that ripped, shredded physique. Now, fellas, getting ripped after 30 isn't about the shortcuts or the magic tricks. All right. I can't stress that enough. It's about training smart, eating right, and staying consistent long enough to let your body actually do what it's supposed to do and transform, right? The veins, the muscle definition, the shredded abs, that's all going to come from building the muscle, burning the fat, and recovering properly. Build the muscle, burn the fat, and recover properly. All right. So if you're ready to just get shredded naturally and you're tired of spinning those wheels, obviously, I'm an online coach, X Factor Fitness online coaching. I'm provide this for you guys, for me to help you get that physique at an easier pace, right? Because you try to do this alone and it's just not possible unless you truly have all the tools. I have the tools. I want to give the tools to you, all right? You're going to build muscle. We're going to lose fat. And we're going to get ripped without starving, all right? We're not going on any starvation diets. You're going to eat, right? And if you just want to try out a free 5-day quick start where I give you a workout plan, a meal plan, and I give you some educational videos to help you along your journey, just to kickstart you, tap in. First link. It's the 5-day free quick start. All right. I want you to lock in. Appreciate you guys. That's enough rambling for me. I hope this helped. If it did, subscribe, like this video, and I'm going to catch y'all in the next one.